recover?
Yeah, I'm glad you said 10 minutes. We just spoke to the coaches and obviously the boys about it. We thought probably 10. It could have been 9 or 8. That probably makes the result slightly better tasting, as far as not that a loss is something you dearly want, but you take that out of it, and you say we've kicked 10 goals in the last part of the game from that point forward, and they kick 8. But we all know that you can't give a home side like that, a 5-goal head start. We probably all know in the world of football that a home side probably starts with 1 or 2 goals. A bit different for the Melbourne sides because everyone plays their head-to-head in MCG. But certainly an interstate side like our ground hopefully will become for us. Patterson out here for West Coast and Fremantle, it's a 2-goal jump. So you throw in another 3 and give them 5, you've got to work really hard. So I can't fault the character of the boys and the development in them. Yeah, we, against the side that hadn't lost last week, play 70, 80 minutes of decent footy. I'm not saying we played decent footy for the whole period today, but again, you could say we played 110 minutes of footy. But 120 is what we need to play.
Are you pleased that the gap between your best and your worst is narrowing? I mean, we've had instances where you've won and your worst is obviously 80-point loss, but now you got to the point where you're really competing, and I mean, you know better than anyone. It's a tough place to win over here. Yeah,
and the peaks and troughs with the young boys, we know that. But let's be honest. I mean, you have peaks and troughs with the old boys, but again, they're old boys that have played 6 or 7 or 8 years because you expect most of the time, 8 times out of 10, they're going to play reasonable footy. But yeah, we understand that. But yeah, as I said, I can't fault the character of the fellas. Scratch your head about the first 10 minutes, but yeah, the resolve to come back and they kicked 7, they kicked 13 for the whole game. We held them to 6 goals for 3 and a bit quarters. So that's good against a side that, as we know, 3 weeks ago murdered the Western Bulldogs. So that was a pleasing result, but let's not be happy with it.
When you say quarter time, Guy, because you look quite emotional, demonstrative when you address the team.
You haven't seen me for the rest of the year, have you, Greg? I thought you'd have been watching me a bit closely. Well, yeah, it was because that 10 minutes is unacceptable. If they jump us again and give us another 10 minutes of that, well, we're in for a world of pain. So it was more about just getting back to what we understood, and I think there was a lot of ball watching. Around the stoppages, we're allowing them to run through us almost unchecked at stoppages, which was unusual. We spoke about their midfield. We spoke about ours, and we thought it was going to be our strength, and I thought their mids got away from our mids, and as I said, that's something we needed to address. I mean, as we saw for the rest of the game, when our defenders had their forwards, Kennedy kicked 4, but he kicked 2 of those in that first 10 minutes as well. So after that, I thought Nathan Bock's game was fairly serviceable. So, it was just making sure that we didn't have a repeat of that first quarter.
And Campbell Brown today, constantly putting himself in front of the West Coast big forwards. What did you make of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we know Campbell Brown. That's certainly, he didn't have to have that message at quarter time. He does that. He naturally does it, and that's why he's playing up at the Gold Coast. We want him to do that, and I thought his role and his performance was quite good as well.
Was he the one that led the way after that first 10 minutes? Because there was a lot of balls coming in there, even after that first 10 minutes, and he was throwing his body back, making sure that he sort of took those big marks and things. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, he's one of those blokes, but again, he's around the action because it's getting pumped in there so readily. But and that's what we love about him. No different to we love the ability from his defensive point of view and his attacking point of view of Nathan Bock down there. Jared Harbrow's ability to set up the ball down back. They all have their strengths. They're all different. But yeah, certainly Brownie put his hand up and he needed to do. He's come off suspension and he's had to find his feet. We'll cut him a bit of slack to find that ability to run out a game and do all those sorts of things. No different to the other senior players, but he certainly paid us back a bit today, Brownie. That's for sure.
Was there a point in that second half where you thought you might run over the top of them?
I'll be honest. If you ask me that question after the first 7 or 8 or 9 minutes, I'm thinking, here we go again. As I said, readdress those issues, and I think even at quarter time when we had kicked 3 goals back at them and kept them to 2, all of a sudden, I wouldn't say momentum, but certainly the tide I thought was starting to turn, and we just had to chip away. Let's be honest, it was only a 4-goal buffer, and it's 4 kicks in a modern game. So yeah, I mean, I certainly had a good opportunity, I would have thought, after quarter time to win the game for sure.
Next week's a bit of an interesting one for you, Blue. I mean, if you're not favourites, there'll be a few people thinking this is your first going into the match that people will be saying you can probably win this match. Is that easy to see how players respond to? That's probably another new step in their development.
Yeah, well, I think enough's been said about betting and things like that. So I'm not sure how many blokes look at that sort of stuff. I think it's a home ground. I think we took a step against Geelong last week at our home game, and now it was our opening of the stadium and things like that. I would hope that the boys, again, forget the first 10 minutes of today, but go out with a passion to defend their turf. It's our stadium, our ground, and have that intensity and bring it to play next week, regardless of North Melbourne, Collingwood, St Kilda, Geelong, any other side. We need to make sure that we're ready to go next week.
Guy, you restricted them to 13 inside 50s after half time. Did you model your own press at this sort of stadium on what the Eagles have been doing?
No, not really. It was more just, you can do that because you start winning the footy. And I think, we won the hard ball count, 66 to 56. Contested possessions, I think we're up by 10 or 12, but that helps. Whether that, equated to that stat you're talking about, I don't know. But it certainly helps when you're winning that ball because then it's going your way rather than going back their way.
The report on David Swallow, what were your thoughts on that?
Not sure of the incident. Not sure when that was taken. I'm not sure I can comment on those anyway, but it's like Campbell Brown earlier in the year. We want our boys to play hard, play fair. The rules are the rules, and I'm sure the right people will have a look at that and determine what the course of action is.
Gary would appear doubled over in period of time in the match after avoiding himself. Is he okay? Is he fine?
If he was doubled over, it was only because he runs himself into the ground. He, as I said, he's taken that upon himself. He's our captain. He does a mountain of work and media work, around the club. He's the face of the club. And again, when he gets on field, he feels like he should do that. He's almost the dad of the boys, if you know what I mean. So, if he's doubled over, I dare say that's what it's because he's run himself into the ground.
He appeared to remonstrate with Scotty Selwood, and it's not very often you see Gary that fired up. That seemed to indicate there was something there.
Oh yeah, well, unfortunately, I didn't see it, so we can get Gaz in, couldn't we? Ask that one, answer that one, but yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't see it, but if he did, if he was remonstrating, I'm sure Gaz wasn't happy with something. Whether it was that, something else, I don't know.
Tom Lynch and Sam Days making it hard for Dicko to get back in the team.
Yeah, both those boys, but no, at some stage, both those boys are going to have a spell, and Sam Days, he's one to talk about. You think about how we're growing as a side, and you think collectively playing good parts of games, but you think about his development. Dean Solomon, as good as he is, a defensive coach, and all the other coaches and development coaches we've got, he's just played on Darren Glass, All-Australian. Week before, he played on Matty Scarlett. The week before that, Ben Rutten. The week before that, Daniel Merritt. That's just, for us, that's gold. What a great experience for him. And I wouldn't say he's won those matchups, but he's been in there competing and fighting. Heaven forbid when he comes up a bloke that's not an All-Australian, not a bloke that's 28 years of age, not someone built like the locker rooms and standing behind you, So, yeah, he's an exciting prospect. And the good thing is he doesn't show his disappointment. He keeps having a launch at the ball. And, he's going to develop so much quicker by playing on those boys, that's for sure.
Guy, you said that you brought Josh Fraser in maybe a couple of weeks earlier than you wanted to. He had a pretty slow start today, but he came on to started making an impact. Is that really a mark of the character of the bloke that he can really do that? Yeah,
well, I know you said the slow start, but I reckon he had about 17 other teammates out there doing the same too. But it is. Look, Zach. We went in with the plan that Zach was still going to do 80-20 in the ruck. Josh was probably going to do 20-80 or 80-20 forward. So that's him. When he's injured and a bit on the limp, he can't do what he has to do. And I thought, like most of the boys, after that 10 minutes, started to work himself into a bit of form. He needs to get to the point where, again, he's taking over that ruck duty from Zach, and Zach can come on and have some impact like he has done in the first half of the season. Not forgetting the great work Zach's done, but Josh needs to come in and shoulder and take those minutes back off Zach.